Hi everyone, welcome to Innvo. I am Zulfikar Ali. Today we will discuss about transformer model, a breakthrough architecture that has transformed natural language processing and much more. Also, we have discussed about a powerful concept called attention that is used to improve speed and parallelization in processing. We will start with RNNs, move through LSTM, and finally land on transformer, which have revolutionized how we process language and sequences. Let's get started. RNN or recurrent neural network. These models were groundbreaking in their time. They are specifically designed for sequence data, meaning they process information one step at a time, which means they are great for tasks like language translation, sentiment analysis, and time series prediction. Imagine RNN as having a sort of memory. They can remember previous input, which help them to understand context in the sequence, like the previous word in the sentence. But here is the catch. They are not perfect, especially when the sequence gets long. Ever tried remembering a list of 20 items? That's tough. And RNN face similar challenge. So what are the limitations of RNN? The main issue is that as the sequence gets longer, RNN struggle to retain information. This is due to something called vanishing gradient problem. Essentially, the network forgets as the sequence grows. And because RNN process data one step at a time, training them can be slow. So while RNN have memory, it's not the best for long sequences. To address some of this limitation, researchers came up with LSTM, long short-term memory networks. LSTMs are like RNNs, with the upgraded memory allowing them to retain information over long sequences. They can decide what information to keep or forget, which makes them much better at handling context over long sentences. But here's the thing, LSTM are still limited by the needs to process data sequentially. This means they still takes a lot of time to train, especially with longer inputs. So while LSTM improved things, they don't completely solve the problem. So let's discuss about transformer. This model completely changed the game by removing the needs to process data in order. Instead of reading word by word, transformers can look the entire sentences or even paragraphs all at once. They rely on something called attention mechanism, which help them focus on the most relevant part of the sequence. And what's really cool, transformers can run on modern GPU more efficiently because they don't depend on sequential processing. This means we can train them faster and they are way better to understand context in large datasets. Now let's dive into what makes transformer tick, the attention mechanism. Imagine you are reading a long paragraph but only focus on the key phrase that help you understand the main idea. Transformers do the same thing with the self-attention. They calculate the importance of each word in relation to every other word in the sentence. Even more impressive in multi-head attention, where the model can attend to different parts of the sentence at once, giving it a more nuanced understanding of context. Think of it like having multiple perspectives on the same sentence. It makes the model incredibly powerful. One question you might have it, if transformers don't process data in order, how do they know the sequence? Good question. Transformers use positional encoding to inject some sense of order into the data. It's like adding invisible text to each word so that the model understands the structure of the sequence. To recap, transformers have few big advantages over RNN and LSTM. They process data in parallel, which speed up training processively. They are also better at handling long sequence and can capture complex relationship between words, making them perfect for tasks like translation, summarization, and generating realistic text. In fact, Transformer are the brand behind many popular applications you have used today, from Google Translate to advanced language models like GPT. Their ability to handle context makes them incredibly powerful and versatile. And that's our journey from RNNs to transformers. We went from simple sequence processing to a model that's reshaping language processing and beyond. I hope this gives you a better understanding of how these models work and why transformers are so transformative. Attention is a mechanism that boosts the performance of application, particularly for machine translation. Transformer harnesses attention to increase the speed of processing, with the key advantage of parallelization rather than process word sequentially like in RNN and LSTM. The transformer allows each word to be processed independently, rather than process words sequentially like in RNNs and LSTM. The transformer allows us word to be processed independently. Let's start by thinking of the transformer model as a black box. In translation, for instance, it could be take a sentence in one language and output and translate sentence into another language. Now let's explore how this model handle input internally. Transformers follow an encoder-decoder architecture. In this step, the encoder encodes the input and the decoder generates the output. Typically, transformers stack 6 encoders and 6 decoders, although the exact number is not fixed and can vary. Each encoder in the stack has an identical structure but doesn't share weights with others. Each consists of two main sublayers, self-attention and feed-forward neural network. Now, let's see how these components interact. To process words, each word in the input is first embedded into a vector of size 512 using an embedding algorithm. These vectors represent each word numerically, which is essential for the model to process the text data. Each word vector flows through the encoder's two sublayers, self-attention and feed-forward, while maintaining its own independent path. A unique feature here is that each word's position is handled independently and dependencies are managed in the self-attention layer. Now, self-attention allows each word to focus on another word in the sentence. Let's go step by step to see how we calculate self-attention. Why is key to the transformer success? For each word, three smaller vectors are created: query, key, and value. These vectors are each of size 64. To form these, we multiply the embedding vector by weights matrices, resulting in three different projections. To calculate attention, we compute scores by taking a dot product of a query vector and a key vectors from other words. These scores reflect the focus that each word places on others within the sentence. After calculating scores, we divide them by 8, the square root of the key vector's dimension, to keep gradients stable. Then we apply the SoftMax function to convert these scores into probability that sum to 1. This ensures focus is normalized and distributed across the words. Next, we multiply each value vector by its corresponding attention weight. This means that relevant words have their values amplified, while irrelevant words are diminished by very small weights. After weighting, we sum these values vectors to produce a single output vector per position. This vector captures contextual information for each word and is sent to the feed-forward layer. The above steps from scoring to summing can be condensed into one formula, allowing self-attention calculation to process efficiently in parallel. Transformer doesn't rely on a single self-attention operation. Instead, it uses 8 parallel attention heads, each capturing different relational aspects of the words. The outputs of these heads are then concatenated and linearly transformed to a single matrix, preparing it for the next layer. To retain word order, transformer add a unique position encoding to each word's embedding. This encoding provides a numerical sense of sequence, so the model understands what positions and relationships. After attention, each position vector flows through a feed-forward network. This network applies transformation, helping to refine the representation before moving it to the next encoder layer or decoder. In the decoder, an extra layer of mask self-attention ensures that each word in a sequence only depends on previous word, maintaining logical orders when generating text. The decoder processes this information and generates output sequentially. Transformers are now core in NLP, computer vision, and beyond, thanks to their efficiency and adaptability.